No, you just go to ResearchGate. You'll find it. In fact, I had actually asked you to do it in the previous semester. Yes, sir. Even after one semester, you are not done. To open your accounts in ResearchGate, Google Scholar. Okay. We'll move on to the next topic, chapter 2 on running after one's hat by G.K. Chesterton. We had a pre-reading activity about G.K. Chesterton. What are the three main aspects that you should recollect about G.K. Chesterton? Is one is about his affinity towards Catholicism. Second, about his distributism. Okay, where he propounded, along with his friend Belloc, where he propounded an alternative economic theory against and socialism. Okay, he was of the opinion that majority of the people should own the maximum resources. It should neither be concentrated in selected individuals, nor it should be concentrated with the government. Okay, he said most of the people should own majority of the resources. What is the third one? Paradox. Okay, he was known for his paradoxical way of communicating. So these three things you should know about G.K. Chesterton, and this, keeping this in the backdrop, you will understand this short story. Okay, I feel an almost savage envy on hearing that London has been flooded in my absence when I am in the mere country. I feel an almost savage envy. Envy means jealous. The basic jealousy, I feel jealous basically on hearing that London has been flooded in my absence when I am in the mere country. Means what he says, that I forget London when I am in my village. Countryside means village side, rural side. My own Battersea has been, I understand, particularly favored as a meeting of the waters. Why he does not recollect London at all? Because the place where he stays in his rural area, that itself is like a water body. Particularly favored as a meeting of waters, where waters meet, or it could be an archipelago. Battersea was already, as I need hardly say, the most beautiful of human localities. He is describing the geographical aspects of the place Battersea. Now that it has the additional splendor of great sheets of water, there will be something quite incomparable in the landscape or waterscape of my own romantic town. Okay, now usually you don't find water throughout the year. Only during rainy season you see the water being flooded or up to the brim. So he says now, since the water has beautified this place Battersea, it can't be comparable to any other locality, he says. Battersea must be a vision of Venus. Means he's comparing his locality Battersea with that of Venice. The boat that brought the meat from the butchers must have shot along those lanes of rippling silver with the strange smoothness of the gondola. So he's comparing. He's mentioning the journey that the boat has taken place as experience till his place. The greengrocer who brought cabbages to the corner of the Lashmere Road must have leaned upon the oar with the unearthly grace of the gondolier. So he also describes how this grocery seller and the meat seller have passed to his place. There is nothing so perfectly poetical as an island, and when a district is flooded, it becomes an archipelago. Island means what? A landmass covered by water on all the sides. Okay? Archipelago refers to group of islands. Students, announcement. They are late. Okay? Archipelago refers to group of islands. So he is describing when you are late to the class, then attend online class. He says when a landmass is filled with water, it's a beauty to watch. Okay? When there are other islands along to it, it is more beautiful. It becomes an archipelago. Some consider such romantic view of flood or fire slightly lacking in reality. So many a times now actually his place is flooded. Okay, water has immersed some part of landmass. On some part he finds land. Okay, it's flooded now, but he's seeing beauty in that flooded area. That is why he's saying some consider such romantic view of flood or fire slightly lacking in reality. What is he saying is, since he's a of a literary background, he feels he has the poetic sensibility. He feels that I really like flooded places, but some people consider this perception of mine as unrealistic. That's why he says lacking in reality. What is lacking in reality? His appreciation, Chesterton's appreciation of flooded areas as beautiful, other people consider as he is not thinking in realistic terms. But really, this romantic view of such inconveniences is quite as practical as the other. Are you comfortable with floods? When there is heavy rain, when the roads are flooded. But he says it is also a beauty of nature. He is enjoying it. Okay, other people call him as unrealistic. Therefore, what is he saying? But this romantic view of such inconveniences is quite as practical as the other. He says, this is practical. We should accommodate ourselves to such inconvenience. Obviously, there will be a lot of inconveniences when there is floods, when there are floods. In urban areas, it is a nightmare. Whereas in rural areas, he feels everything calm and composed. He is of the opinion that this is also reality. Not all the time being normalcy is not the only reality. Being in inconvenient times is also a reality. The true optimist who sees in such things an opportunity for enjoyment is quite as logical and much more sensible than the ordinary indignant ratepayer who sees in them an opportunity for grumbling. How many of you are open for new things, challenges, unknown things? There is a word called as xenophilia. Means they are open for strangers. How many of you like to travel and meet new people? You like to travel, explore new things, explore the unexpected. Means it's like some people are like this. They just want to go. They do not want to plan anything. They just want to go to some unknown place, taste different foods, new delicacy, meet new people, get to know about the culture. How many of you are comfortable this way? Have you experimented it, or you're anticipating it? Anticipating means you want to do it in future. You've already experienced. So you people get to go, intend to explore new places. Okay, he is also one type of person. Okay, he wants to visit new places, explore the unexpected. He does not want everything to be planned. Okay, some people are very much disciplined, they plan everything. Okay, they even list down what all to be done today. Some people do not plan, they lead their life only in an unplanned way, but that is wrong. Certain aspects of your life should be planned. Some people, they don't have any plans also. Do you have a plan? Do you have a personal plan? What are you going to do in another 5 years? Do you have a plan? Have you planned it? No, none of you have done. We should do a SWOT analysis. You are in the second semester. After your graduation, what are you supposed to do? Either post-graduation or get into work. At the age of 25, what should be your financial situation? You should plan. That is very much important. Okay, we Indians are very much, or generally, I do not want to generalize. Generally, most people do not plan their career, do not plan their life at all. Simply they do graduation, post-graduation, whatever job they get, they do. But some people who, especially the entrepreneurs who have achieved well, okay, if you see, they know their future. What am I going to do in the next 5 years? How much I am going to earn? To what extent I will be financially stable, emotionally stable, okay, in terms of relationship or in terms of economy, everything they would have planned. So those things you should plan. Okay. Next class, I will give a SWOT analysis of yourself, and I will also ask you to do planning. Okay, by 25, what you intend to do, by 30, you should think. Only then you can decide, right? Otherwise, simply everybody join BBA, you too also join BBA. And one of your friend will join MBA or some company, you too also join. So you should analyze yourself where your interest actually lies. What are your strong points? Okay, here he says, he defines who the true optimist is. What do you mean by optimism? Thinking positively. Though you have failed in the exam, you should not get demotivated. Okay, failing is not the end of the life. Okay, that is the problem in the Indian education system. If you fail or if you score less marks, it means that you are zero. No, many people have achieved. better things than those who have scored good numbers. They say you should be street smart. Street smarts means what? Just scoring 90% in academics is of no use. You should know how to apply the knowledge that you have and how to upgrade yourself and how to give the best. Many times I've seen students who have scored 100 out of 100 in 10th standard or 80-90% students, they do not perform well in employment. They join some random jobs getting less salary, whereas the person with who is not that much good in academics gets into some business, gets into some entrepreneurship, okay, involved in some creative activities and doing good in life. Okay, so don't commit that mistake. The true optimist who sees in such things an opportunity for enjoyment is quite as logical and much more sensible than the ordinary indignant ratepayer who sees in them an opportunity for grumbling. So here he defines, Chesterton defines, who is a true optimist. A person who sees or who can enjoy even in instances of inconvenience is a logical person. When compared to a person who just blames. Let's say there is heavy rain. What is the point in blaming? Can you control it? Can you control floods? Were you in a position to control COVID? You people enjoyed COVID, right? Then any of them? Yes or no? Students who studied during COVID times, how many of you utilized the time? You should ask for yourself. Now you feel, I wasted almost 1 year. How many of you truly utilized it? Be it in upskilling yourself or focusing on your hobbies, okay, completing the pending tasks. So what is it trying to tell is, even in inconvenient times, troubled times, if you are able to appreciate it and enjoy it, you are the most logical person. Okay, you should not grumble. When you have an opportunity, you utilize it, because there are certain things that are beyond your control. You should abide to it. You should adapt yourself to it. There is no point grumbling. Nobody can grumble. There is no point grumbling about COVID-19 situation, because you don't have any control over it. Well, these are all life lessons that you should incorporate in your life, not just summarize in English literature classes or any literature classes. Real pain, as in the case of being burnt at Smithfield or having a toothache, is a positive thing. Having toothache or having any problems is normal. It can be supported, but scarcely enjoyed. Many a times, we just blame. Let's say you have a toothache. You just blame. I have got toothache, I can't speak. Instead of that, enjoy. Many a times when you have pain, you have you don't have sound sleep. Mild pain, especially, tired also, especially when you have joint pains. When you have, let's say if your bones are fractured. Okay, I don't know whether it is because of the pill that you take, or you feel some kind of solace. Many even say XYZ got operated. It was apt because he or she had worked lot all these days. He or she needed some rest. Okay. He says real pain, as in the case of being burnt at Smithfield or having toothache, is a positive thing. He says real pain is a positive thing. Only when you experience pain, you can enjoy happiness better. So the context you should understand is more inclined towards Catholicism and paradoxical thing. But after all, our toothaches are the exception. And as for being burnt at Smithfield, it only happens to us at the very longest intervals. And most of the inconveniences that make men swear or women cry are really sentimental or imaginative inconveniences, things altogether of the mind. He says this having toothache or burning yourself somewhere, these are all very less pains, but we usually are hurt because of sentiments, he says. Okay, and most of the inconveniences that make men swear or women cry are really sentimental or imaginative inconveniences. What do you mean by imaginative inconveniences? You just anticipate what it may happen. What will happen if I go in the rain? Not fake scenarios. You anticipate. You anticipate scenarios. things altogether of the mind. Therefore, you say if you can control your mind, you need not control the world. Yes or no? See, you may be a conqueror of the world, but you are not able to control yourself. You are of no use. Okay, what is the most difficult thing a human being can do is control oneself. Control oneself means what? Control one's emotions. Okay, you feel like hitting somebody. You should not go and hit. You should control. Okay, controlling oneself is the biggest thing. And let's say you are very much disappointed. You should overcome that. You should just consider it as part of one's life. For instance, we often hear grown-up people complaining of having to hang about a railway station and wait for the train. Okay, especially nowadays things have improved. Okay, during olden days when he wrote in later part of the century, waiting for the train, some people complained. He is giving one such instance. Did you ever hear a small boy complain of having to hang about a railway station and wait for a train? He's comparing the approach or attitude of a elderly person or a matured person and a small boy, okay, or a small kid. The small kids don't care about anything. They just enjoy with whatever they have. So he's bringing the comparison of a scenario, how an older person responds waiting for the train and how a small boy responds waiting for the train. Did you ever hear a small boy complain of having to hang about a railway station and wait for a train? No. For to him, to be inside a railway station is to be inside a cavern of wonder and a palace of poetical pleasures. Why is that the small boy does not complain inside a railway station waiting for the train? Because for him, it's a world of fantasy. For a small boy, it's a world of fantasy. He is in the place of wonder, a wonderland, and a palace of poetical pleasures. The sound made by the train, the movement made by the train, all these are poetical pleasures for the small boy. That's why he enjoys, whereas the matured person does not. Have you ever seen yourself when during your childhood you used to be inquisitive? Means you used to ask lot of questions, ask your parents why this, why not that. Now you almost stop talking to your parents, right? Only when it is necessary you talk. You don't talk the general everyday happenings. Do you talk with your parents regarding everyday activities, happenings? Are you inquisitive to the same extent how you were during your childhood? No. Now most of the days, now whatever could be the problem, we have a solution in Google. Okay, let's say I have some problem. You Google it. What are the symptoms? Let's say you're sneezing, you're running nose, you check symptoms of COVID-19. You only diagnose yourself. So most of you wouldn't even reveal it to your parents. Yes or no? Thinking that they will feel bad. Because to him, the red light and the green light on the signal are like a new sun and new moon. So he's comparing the red and green light of the railway, the train, or in the railway station as the new sun and the new moon. Look at the imagination of the boy, how he enjoys. What about the ordinary people or the educated people? They just consider it as red light and green light, stop and go signals. But for this boy, they are like new sun and new moon. Because to him, when the wooden arm of the signal falls down suddenly, it is as if a great king had thrown down his staff as a signal and started a shrieking tournament of trains. He's talking about the railway signal. During those days, there used to be wooden barriers to stop movement of others. Now, even now also you have, when the train is passing during relevant signals, they stop movement of other vehicles. So for this small boy, such kind of signals, okay, he imagines that some king has stopped, has asked his employees to stop. Great king had thrown down his staff as a signal and started a shrieking tournament of trains. Tournament means in series, because the boy considers each compartment of trains as many trains. I myself am of little boy's habit in this matter. So Chesterton says, though I am grown up, I have this childish, I am childlike. What is the difference between being childish and being childlike? Should you be childish or should you be childlike? You should be childlike. Means you should have that child, the spirit of the child, that inquisitiveness, enjoying his inner child. Okay, you should never let the inner child die in you. We should always be inquisitive. We should always be ready to explore more things. You see, if you would have had small kids in your family, you see how they enjoy. You just observe them. Okay, you just list down the characteristics of them. Okay, they enjoy with whatever they have. Okay, their mainly own complaint is food. If you feed them, let them sleep, that's their only satisfaction. But we keep on complaining. Okay. Next. I myself am of little boy's habit in this matter. They also serve who only stand and wait for the 2:15. They also serve who only stand and wait for the 2:15. Their meditations may be full of rich and fruitful things. Many of the most purple hours of my life have been passed at Clapham Junction, which is now, I suppose, underwater. So, as I told you, this is about, he's talking about the flooded area. Their meditations will be full of rich and fruitful things. Many of the most purple hours of my life have been passed at Clapham Junction, which is now, I suppose, underwater. It is submerged now. I've been there in many moods, so fixed and mystical that the water might well have come up to my waist before I noticed it particularly. Many a time he is so lost in himself that even when it is flooded, he has not noticed. When he realized the water was almost up to his waist. But in the case of all such annoyances, as I have said, everything depends upon the emotional point of view. You can safely apply the test to almost every one of the things that are currently talked of as the typical nuisance of daily life. So he's saying, no matter whatever the difficult situation, it all depends on how emotionally you approach it. And he says you can connect to the everyday activities that you do. Now he is giving an example. For instance, there is a current impression that it is unpleasant to have to run after one's hat. Let's say you are wearing a hat and due to wind it's flying. And disciplined people who follow disciplines, ethics, they consider it is not appropriate to run behind one's hat.
So it's
Why? Okay, is it time? So come in.